All right, our next topic is the Donna Adelson case, set for trial coming up later this month in Tallahassee, Florida. This is being called the matriarch mastermind case because Donna Adelson is a mother of someone who's already been convicted of killing her son-in-law, and there's a lot of background here. This is actually a very complicated case, but fortunately, Dave Aronberg knows all about it. Of course, he's a longtime prosecutor in the state of Florida. And Dave, as I understand it, you actually knew the victim in the case. So why don't you tell us what's happened up to this point and what this case is all about?
Yeah, thanks, Phil. This one is personal to me because I was friends with Danny Markell. He was an FSU law professor, and I knew him when I was a state senator in Tallahassee. He was a great guy, and he had a marriage to Wendy, and the marriage dissolved, and there was a fight over the two kids. And Wendy wanted the kids back in South Florida. Wendy is from South Florida, and she has parents, and she has a brother down in South Florida. Now, Tallahassee is about a 7-hour drive from where they live in Broward, and so she wanted them down there. Danny Markell was doing very well as an FSU law professor, wanted the kids to stay in Tallahassee. And the mother-in-law here, Donna Adelson, was getting very upset. And she told Wendy that you need to do whatever it takes, essentially, to get those kids back down here. Like, for example, you should threaten to have the kids convert to Catholicism, Christianity, because the kids are Jewish and Danny was a religious a Jew. And so she was saying you should do whatever it takes. In fact, dress them up in Nazi clothes and say that's what's going to happen unless they go and move to South Florida. And then they offered to bribe Danny Markell, pay him $1 million to have the kids move to South Florida. Danny said no to all this stuff. And then he found out that the mother-in-law, Donna, was bad-mouthing him, trashing him in front of the kids, in front of his kids. And so Danny moved the court to have supervised visitation so that Donna Adelson, the mother-in-law, could not have unsupervised visitation with the kids. And after that, they decided, the Adelsons, to put a plan into action. And that would be to get hitmen to kill Danny Markell. And how do we know that? Because two hitmen went up to Danny's door in Tallahassee and killed him, shot him to death. And one of the hitmen flipped. And the two hitmen were convicted. One was sentenced to life in prison. The other one got 7 years in addition to his sentence because he was the one who flipped.
Can I ask you a real quick question, not to cut you off? Sure. These hitmen, right? Weren't they gang affiliated? And wasn't one of these hitmen the baby daddy of, I guess it's Charlie, which is Donna's son, the dentist, I guess, periodontist in Miami. That was his girlfriend at the time, but these hitmen were connected to her, and weren't they connected to some kind of a gang?
Well, the Adelsons didn't know hitmen, and it took police a while to figure out the connection between these hitmen. One of them was involved with the Latin Kings gang, a very violent gang, and the Adelsons. The Adelsons had this thriving dental practice in South Florida. They were making bank. And then they found a connection. Charlie Adelson, Wendy's brother, Danny's brother-in-law, he was a smooth operator in South Florida. He drove a Lamborghini with a license plate that said Maestro. He was making money, dating shot girls, traveling to Thailand to do God knows what over there. And he was the kind of guy involved with steroids and other drugs, living the high life. And he had this girlfriend, Katie McBanawa, who's a shot girl at a club, and she had a baby daddy who was the hitman. And that's the connection. So then Katie was charged, who was the conduit, the shot girl. And she had to go through 2 trials. The first trial was 11-1, hung jury, 1 juror holdout. They tried her again, convicted. She's now in jail, life in prison. Then they went after Charlie, step by step. That's the brother-in-law. And they got him convicted, life in prison. Now they're going after the mother-in-law, Donna. Her day of reckoning is upon us. And everyone is asking, what about Wendy? Well, they have not charged Wendy yet, but I think that is probably going to come if and when Donna is convicted.